Hi, I'm Ramat and welcome to a new episode of my vlog. Today I am going to be talking about something I have titled The Unfairness of Marriage. So it's going to be a bit here and there, but then it's something that needs to be talked about. So every time as a person, as a woman especially, you get to this point where you begin to desire marriage. You begin to desire a partner, a companion, and you're thinking, oh, okay, let me just get this thing done. And a lot of times it's because you want to. At other times it's because we have been so conditioned to believe that women need to get married at a certain point in their lives. That is good and it's fine for all of this, but a lot of women do not understand just how much they are going to be sacrificing in this institution called marriage. So I am going to talk about these things. And I have been told that I get a bit iffy with this topic, but I will talk about it in as calm a tone as I can. So the first thing I want to mention that many women really consider when they're about to get married is the change of their names. So many people are fine with it. Like the moment they get married, they stop being Amina, Shade, Fauziat, Blessing, Amaka, whatever name, right? They stop being this person and they become a Mrs. somebody. And even when people don't want to call them Mrs. this or Mrs. that or Mrs. insert whatever surname, they begin to call them Amaria, Iyawo, and Wuyem, or I don't know how that's pronounced, but it's like the Igbo version of all of these other names I've said. And so there is this erasure of a woman's name that she's no longer that person that she was. And for me, it's a big problem because I have always been Ramatu Ada Ochekliye. I have been that name for so long a time. And then it's like, okay, just because I'm getting married to somebody, I stop being Ramatu and become Mrs. So I think it's going to, okay, they say I should calm down, so I'll calm down. But I think it's going to need a lot of getting used to have somebody call. I personally have said it over and again that changing my name is not even an option. My name is Ramatu Ada Ochekliye, and that's what it's always going to be. But many women are ready to change their names. They have no problems with the erasure of their names. Where women decide that they don't want to change their names, their families, the family they marry into, the society tries to make life hard for them. I have heard of people who were trying to travel out of the country and they still they kept their names, and then at the maybe immigration office they were asking them why didn't they change their names, and I'm like, okay, do you understand the culture from whence this came from? It's one thing I admire about some cultures that the women keep their names, right? It's your name, so I don't understand why you need to change it just because you get married. But people want to change their names, they want to become Mrs. somebody, and it's fine, but I want people to realize that it is a sacrifice because you have to learn to be called this new name after having had your name for a long time. You have to go and make, is it an affidavit or something, and actually put out an ad in the newspaper or whatever media to announce that change of your name. And this never happens for men, which for me is a problem. I've seen, okay, so I can walk back that statement and say this almost never happens for men, because I think it was Joey Saldana's husband who came up and said he was going to take her last name. And it was so different that people came for him and said, oh my God, he's this, and they were just talking a bunch of nonsense. But he said that, she had a bigger name, and so he was going to take her name. But it's not commonplace. What we see is a lot of young women deciding to take whomever they marry's name. And someone has asked me, okay, so you don't want to change your name, what happens with the family name? There's something my friends Trix and Vicky have done that I really like. They created a family name for themselves right after they got married, and that family name is something that they both decided, they worked on and decided this is the name we'll choose, right? Because our child will probably take that name. For me, what I'm looking at is keeping my name, he keeps his name, and then get a name for the family if we do have one. That's one thing I consider. But again, it's a sacrifice that women need to make. The next sacrifice I need to talk about is that women who get married change their dressing. Whew. So I went to this wedding and everyone who was there were mates and all of it. And so it wasn't like they were married for so long. They were like recently married, and almost everyone was tying a wrapper. Now, it was a predominantly Yoruba culture. Most of the people who were there were Yoruba, and they were all tying wrapper. And I said, so what's with is it a style or something? I said, oh no, it's just a sign that they are married. And I was like, okay. It's like, no, they just have to show that they are married. And I was like, okay. And I've seen also with northern girls, with girls in the southern part of the country, different parts of Nigeria, for example, where as soon as women get married, they become more conservative with their dressing. And it's because the idea is whatever way you were dressing before you married was so that you could attract a man. Now that you have attracted this man and he has wifed you, you need to tone it down so no other man looks at you. I'm trying to be nice with this episode, but I just kind of feel like you shouldn't change. Again, it's a huge part of yourself. So I am conservative naturally, but and so I'll probably always be this person. And I would probably always choose a trouser before I choose a dress, right? So if someone now tells me, Ramat, you need to, start wearing dresses, start wearing Ankara. I love Ankara. So yes, I may decide to sew something that's maybe trouser based or something. But if you now insist, Ramat, you need to start dressing like a married woman. Where? How? No, it just wouldn't work for me. So that's another sacrifice a lot of women should consider when they decide that they're going to get married. It's an unfairness that I think is there because men don't change their dressing. They continue to dress exactly the same way as they were dressing before they married you. If they were wearing kaftans, that's what they wear. If they were wearing shirts and trousers, that's what they will continue to wear. They would not stop being who they are to be a part of your life. So now I want to talk about the third and probably the most important sacrifice that a lot of women make, and that is the pressures that comes from running the home. It is generally accepted everywhere that women are supposed to cook, clean, care for the house, take care of the children, raise them, do all of this. And the man is supposed to go out there and bring. Time and time again, we've seen that that's not necessarily the case. Men and women go out to work. Even as far back as years ago, women went to the markets, men went to the farms. There are cultures where, for example, the Kilba people of Adamawa State, the women are the one who go to the farm and do all of that. So we have all of these things happening. Women have always worked outside of the home. Then they come back home and take on extra work. House chores are not beans. No matter what kind of house you have. It's stressful cleaning your house. It's stressful keeping it in order. And when you have children, it's even more stressful, especially when they're babies and they need all of your help. So you have to clean almost every day. Almost every time you change a diaper, you need to put it in the laundry or to wash them yourself. Babies will eat and stain all of their clothes. So in a day, they could probably change their clothes like 7 times, and you have to wash every single time. That is inclusive of taking care of the baby, inclusive of being in the kitchen and being cooked as you're cooking for your family. And if you have a large family, it means the chores get bigger. So this is a huge sacrifice that women make, and we continue to hear that men go out to do work. No, it's not just men who go out. Women do as gruesome a job outside of the house as they do even inside. And I think a lot of it is because people do not consider that house chores is actually work. Let me give an example. I had this friend, really cool dude, wonderful. And then this day he went to the family house and his mom was sick. So he needed to help his mom. And his mom has been cooking with firewood and all of that. So she fancy, does everything, and And so he had to light the firewood for the first time in his entire life, because his mom was too sick to take care of the rest of the people at home and all of that. And he went and he was fanning this thing and he was breathing like, oh my God, and scratching his eyes like, just the firewood is in my eyes. And I'm like, this is what women go through all the time, right? And for a lot of people, they don't consider that to be work. I said I wasn't going to do this, but I probably should. Let me shade my father and my brother a bit. So whenever I'm not at home, my father and my brother can figure out how to take care of themselves. But as soon as me or any of my sisters come back home, they forget how to do any work. It's now suddenly, oh, so what are we going to eat? Oh, so who's going to clean up and all of that? And when you're raised in a community where it is believed that women do all the work, and then assume that, oh, doing all of that is just regular. That's my beef. If this was so easy, why can't you do it? It just shows that women are going through so much, putting in a lot of work at home and outside of the home. And as a wife, I hope you're ready, because that's the kind of life you'll be living. Working from home, working outside of your home, trying to take care of babies, because a lot of men don't even bother. They never change diapers. They never take care of babies. They barely lift up babies. And when they do, they tell you, oh, I helped out with my baby. Oh, Benny, no, it's your baby. You don't help out. You should take care of your baby. Things like that. So these are sacrifices that women make. And most of the time, when the option is given for whether a woman should sacrifice her job or her career, in terms of, and then maybe the second option is to choose her husband and her children and her home and her marriage, most likely the woman would have to quit, because it becomes too much for her to be able to do her career and to be able to run a home. That is always a problem. And we see these banal conversations on social media where people are saying, oh, if the wife is earning 150 million and the husband is earning 1 million, who should quit their jobs? Almost always people say the woman should quit her job and the man should remain, because it's the woman's job to raise the family, to cook for the husband, to have sex with him, all of that. I just feel like these are things that women need to understand, that you'll be making sacrifices that in many instances will mean an eradication of the things that you want, in terms of your career, the things that you want in terms of your education, even the future that you want. So you'll be making these sacrifices. And all of this is usually done because there's so many ways that we are conditioned to believe that women should submit to men. So the biggest unfairness for me is this insistence that women must submit to their husbands. People will mention the Bible verse or mention the Quranic verse and not mention the corresponding verses that explain what love should be, what the husband's role should be. So everyone expects the woman to submit, and that for me is one of the biggest. Everything I've mentioned is subsumed into submitting to your partner, submitting to your husband in this case. And so even if this man that you're marrying is not conservative, even if this man is enlightened, open-minded and whatnot, very few would be willing to let the traditional definition of gender roles pass. Like, a lot of people who are supposedly enlightened will still insist that you take their name, without realizing that it's an erasure of your own person. A lot of men who will sit down and say, oh, okay, once in a while I cook for my wife, but she takes the bulk of the cooking. There are still very enlightened men, very liberal men who will tell you, oh, no, I can't change diapers. No, I'm helping out with the baby. I'm babysitting my baby. No. So for me, it's that there is just way too many sacrifices that seems unfairly skewed against the woman. And so if you do decide to get married, I think it's a beautiful institution if that's what you want and if that's what you desire. But you need to weigh the things that you may be sacrificing as a person. Are you willing to lose your identity, your essence, who you are, just so that something works? In my view, marriage chiefly benefits men. But it's something that if you want to do, you should really weigh it for yourself. So what do you think? I know I'm going to get some flack for this, but I want to hear, what do you think? Do you think that it's unfair, marriages for women? Do you think it is unfairer for men? I'd like to discuss this with you in the comment section. Please do that. I think I have come to the end of this topic. I hope that you listen to the end of this vlog to find out ways to reach me, and please tune in every Wednesday at 3:05 p.m. West African time. It's hugs and kisses from Ramat. Bye.